Hello Tech Pros, episode 260.
Getting information off the internet is like taking a drink from a fire hose. It is overwhelming. It is so much information.
Welcome to the podcast where we explore the opportunities, challenges, and anxieties that technical professionals and techpreneurs face when building their career, building their products, and building their business. This show is about the people behind technology and the mindsets and skill sets they developed that led to their success. You can learn more about this podcast and our guests at hellotechpros.com and about overcoming social anxiety at anxietynerd.com. All right, let's get started. Hello, Tech Pros. This is Chad Bostic, and I'm excited to introduce our featured guest today, Nina Meiers. Hey, Nina, how's it going?
It's going great now that we've sorted out that technology thing with Skype. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, man, Skype. Today is a bad day for Skype. The Skype gods were looking down upon us poorly today. Between Nina and I, we wasted at least 4 to 5 hours in trying to get Skype to connect. And then I signed on to the site that tells you if websites are up and down. And there were thousands and thousands of people across the globe that were having Skype problems today. And I was like, well, I'm glad it's not just me, but how many millions of productivity hours were completely wasted today because of people trying to connect and reconnect all day long. It's just a pain. Sometimes this technology stuff can be just a pain in the arm, and I hate it. But on the other hand, when it works, man, we can have awesome conversations across the world. So I'm in Central Florida on the East Coast of the United States. And Nina, where in the world are you?
Well, I am actually in Victoria, Australia, northeast Victoria, and it's about 180 kilometres north of Melbourne, which is at the bottom of Australia. And we don't have a lot of snowfields in Australia, but we do have one called Mount Buller, and that's where I live near. I'm not a snow person, but I love the area, and it helps us because we want to grow these beautiful berries on our berry farm while I do my technology work.
Awesome.
So it's a beautiful place. Rural, very remote. And I use the new satellite technology so that I can talk to you like you're in my right next door to me on a chair.
Right next door. I love it. Love technology for that reason when it works. So let me give you a bio. Let me give you an introduction to my audience. Nina Meiers loves the leverage and flexibility technology provides and decided to embark on a farming journey, growing healthy, delicious foods without chemicals. Nina is an offline farmer and online entrepreneur who juggles feeding the chooks and alpacas with building websites and e-commerce for a range of companies locally and nationally. Nina loves the grounded lifestyle of being a farmer combined with the location independence that online business provides. And just as you said, Nina, like with satellite technology, with internet, we can build businesses that live and grow anywhere in the world and potentially serve a worldwide audience while we are wherever we are. The other day, I was in Disney World at Epcot, waiting in line at Starbucks, and I was checking emails and I was scheduling some podcast interviews from Disney World, right? And then meanwhile, you're on a farm in rural Australia and we're all doing online business. It's pretty cool.
It's quite amazing. And I can remember just the decision that we made to move. It was, could I do it? Would I lose? I'm a freelancer. Would people not want to deal with me anymore? And it has definitely not been that way. I've sent an email out to clients saying I was moving and this was what was happening, and I rebranded to Berry Digital because it was a berry farm. It was a bit cheesy and corny, but the response has been so lovely. I reckon I've got a few fruit pickers and I'm thinking, yeah, you come on up. You won't last an hour, but I'd love to see you. So it's terrific. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you were a freelancer building websites and doing things before you moved out to your farm. Tell us a little bit about your online business, and then we'll pivot in a little bit and move to what the farming life is like.
For me, I've always loved technology and the leverage of technology. I think it's a way that you can it really levels the competition. I think that you can be bigger than what you really are. And I've always wanted to help people. I love, I think I like to give people independence. I like to empower them. And I started working with technology back in 1996, and I received a scholarship. I think I listened to one of your podcasts where you mentioned about, getting sales. For me to get the scholarship, I had to have some websites. So I looked at 3 businesses and I just made these real nice websites for them. I submitted them as part of my scholarship so that I could learn more about this wonderful thing called the internet. Mm-hmm. As time progressed, I think that I wanted to have, I wanted to empower customers, really. I didn't want to have someone ringing me up to make changes on their website. So I started looking for technology that was a content manager in the early days in 2003. And I found a product called DotNetNuke, which is a .NET CMS. Mm-hmm. And from there, it's sort of, it's grown. And I'll be honest with you, I don't use WordPress, and I have an Android, and you stand in a crowd of people and it's like, right. You are that person in the crowd, and from there, I guess I learned the hard way. I handled my own infrastructure, and I think because I'm a control freak in a way, I need to know I like to sleep at night, and I need to know that my little cloud, my things are going well, and I've just progressed working with clients who the type of client I'd get was someone like, oh, Nina, I've tried this, I've tried that, and they don't understand me, and I have no more money left. Oh, and I think, why didn't you come to me first?
Right.
And we end up building great websites and great solutions. Things like there's e-commerce, membership sites. I've been doing membership sites since before they were popular. Email marketing. In 2000, we had email marketing software that was also connected to e-commerce software that would upsell and cross-sell, and people didn't know what shopping carts were. So I learned over time the importance of not being too far ahead with technology. And so you've got a lot of it. When you know yourself when you've got technology, you've got these wonderful ideas because you're in that zone, but often the broader audience isn't. And you spend all this time creating something to find that no one knows what the hell you're talking about because because it hasn't really been invented yet by anybody.
Right.
Banking and banking to me was one of the big steps towards bringing people online, and from there I think it became a lot easier. That's just, I've got a lot of thoughts in my head about the different type of customers. I still work with my same very first customer back in 1996 is still with me, and it is interesting because when I wanted to become a web developer, I went to a trade show because I was doing kitchens and bathrooms, and I put a sign up. At one side was web developing, and the other side was kitchen designs, and a fishbowl with the glass. I said, I said, put your card in if you want to know what the internet is. And one person did that, spoke to me, and we've forged a relationship ever since. So that's just really, it's a mishmash of how I got into this and the type of customers that I service. I really service people who want to hand over the responsibility of their website management to someone who knows what they're doing. They just want to run their business, and I will then just make it happen for them. There's a lot of trust involved in that as well, because you can send people up a very bad garden path by not having the right advice, trying to use your customers as guinea pigs. I've done that before, and I'm past that stage, and it's very important for me that my customers make money online, because why be online if you're not getting some financial benefit? It might not be dollars, but it might be saving time, streamlining CRM, leveraging technology, acquiring new customers. So it's a lot of randomness there, but that's what 20 years of being online does to you. You can reflect
there's a lot of
things.
experience. Yeah, a lot of experience there, Nina. And it's great to hear the breadth of experience come through in that message. And that, you being a person who loves technology might have been on the bleeding edge of technology from way in the beginning of when the internet's first coming online, and when email marketing is first coming online, and when online commerce, e-commerce is first coming online, and you're there every step of the way, and you're that guide that can help your customer say, you know what, this may be right for you in this area. Your business is XYZ. You have this brick and mortar type of store. You deal with your customers this type of way. Here would be a way through technology maybe to enhance the business that you already have. Whereas I think some people that I've talked to, and honestly, the type of person that I used to be a few years ago is it's technology first, right? It's very technocentric and it's about the technology. And then, oh yeah, we might do a little business too, right? And what I've learned over the course of my career is I've had it completely backwards. I've had it absolutely backwards my whole life because I'm thinking about the technology. I'm thinking about how to solve the next problem. And I'm thinking about how to invent the next problem so that I can solve it using the next piece of technology instead of just really understand where people are and what they are trying to accomplish and how you can help them accomplish their goals in an easy manner without adding a lot of BS to their process, right? Without adding a lot of complexity to their life. Because to you and to me, technology and code and building websites, it's just kind of is natural and it comes easy to us or easier than other people. But what I never appreciated throughout my career was that for some people, folks, it's really, really difficult. And I need to extremely change the way I communicate. And every person that I talk to have a little bit different message that I deliver because some folks, like you said, they don't want to know the technology. They just want to hand you the problem and say, Nina, Chad, please solve this problem. And I'm going to go over here and do this part of my business that I want to work on.
Yes, I think I'm obviously a broad thinker and I don't know if I'm a little bit dyslexic. At times I read things differently, and I'm the sort of person that's, I'd say to people, let's just get this straight. If you look at your watch 3 times, I'm thinking you're looking at the time. I don't get the hint that you are actually trying to tell me you want to go. You've got to say, Nina, I want to go. So let's just clarify. If you want to know something, and I ask people, what sort of person are you? I think the best thing I did was, what sort of person are you? Do you want the full story or do you want it in point form? And when I could ask that question, I could understand the type of person they were and what I needed to deliver to keep them happy. Some people want war and peace, and some people just want to have 3 points they can look at on their phone and say it's all under control. So you understand over time the personalities that you're working with. And I found that for me, I'm a very detailed person, and I'm not a feminist in any way, shape or form. I've been with my husband for 29 years. I love him to death. But a woman in technology, and particularly at the level I'm at, I get to hear more bullshit. It's like I'm a bit ditzy, I'm a bit blonde, a bit daffy, but don't take me for a fool. And often I spent many a meeting with my clients in rooms with them to help them understand that the rubbish they were being sold, like a used car salesman. I think the internet at times is almost like it's like a used car salesman selling you stuff that you don't really need because they read online you could be an entrepreneur by getting a free website and charging someone $5,000. And it doesn't sit well with me. And I've struggled a little bit with this about stepping out and saying to people, stop, do you need this? I mean, just last few days, I've worked on a project for 4 years with a client. She wants to go live. It's very complex, very niche. And I get an email from a young lady telling me that we're going to tell me how I need to do my work for her to market. By the way, we're using WordPress. And I said, hello, WordPress? No, we're not. We're not using WordPress for this project. And she continued to tell me that, okay, we're using WordPress. We've made a decision. And I just said nicely to my client, thank you very much. I'm going to pack everything up for you. Let that young lady look after it for you. All your infrastructure. Now, I can tell you now that young lady is out of the picture. And I said to my client, what are you doing? And she's got all these ideas. I said, here's the thing. You don't need to have 20 different people. I said, you need to answer 20 questions as to what the hell you want to get out of your business so we can formulate something. How do you eat an elephant? One step at a time. What are you trying to do with your business? Let's look at what you're trying to do with it and come back with a plan and a date. Because many people who we build websites for don't have dates. Now, I just want to ask you something. Have you ever met a client who doesn't get you the content? You've got a project that you're busting to launch it, and they just do not give you the content. And now in my paperwork, I tell people now that if I finished my work and you haven't got the content, I'm going to bill you, because not my problem if it takes you 12 months to get me 14 pictures. And this is, this is what happens. But at the end of the day, what I discovered with my client is that she said to me, Nina, this is why I love you. I just need to get my site launched and I don't know what to do. And I've explained to her 20 times what she needs to do, but now I'm going to go through it again in point form and follow up and chase her, because now she's ready to launch. Because people often have life get in the way. And from a web developer's point of view, I think sometimes too, you need to have quite a few jobs on the go so you can let go and put aside the ones that you know there might be trouble with or people's lives get in the way, and then pick them back up when they're ready to run with it. It's almost like a mentoring business sometimes with customers, I find, because to get a really good result, you've really got to know what your customer wants to do. And then when you want to know what your customer wants to do, you can read into where they're at. And then instead of trying to force something onto them because you want to get a job finished, you can pull back a little bit and say, you know something, I see you in this position. How about we put it aside and come back at another critical moment in a month's time, and you don't hassle. So again, I've probably gone a little bit broad in my thinking, because I start thinking about my projects and the clients and the type of people I'm dealing with and what the sticking points are to things going live. And like I've got one client, I said, this will take me 3 weeks to do. And that was in June. They signed the contract and we launched it yesterday. Yesterday.
Well, there's a lot of stuff, right? When we're working with folks, scope is negotiable, right? The thing that I've learned over the course of history is even when they say the scope is non-negotiable, this is exactly what I want, and only this, and absolutely this. It is 100% every single project that I've worked on has been negotiable, right? The time may be fixed. The budget may be fixed. There may be milestones that have to fit this time and this budget, but the scope is constantly changing, and people are constantly changing their mind on what's a priority this week and what's the biggest problem. And now I've got a new individual on the team and they have an opinion on where to go with this, right? So it's constantly changing. But I love the idea, Nina, that you brought up about mentoring and coaching your customers. And it sounds like you're almost being an accountability partner for them, right? You're holding them accountable to their own goals and expectations. They want to launch their website, and you are holding them accountable, saying, hey, we signed this contract. You hired me to build you this platform. I've built you the platform. Now I'm billing you, right? Because even if you don't have your pictures, even if you don't have your text, even if you don't have your subtitles and all of your bios filled out, the platform is done, and I'm holding you accountable to the launch date. We are launching now, or at least as far as the contract's concerned, right? I'm billing you now because for all intents and purposes, we're done. And now the rest is you making the decisions on your end to like finish and polish and all that good stuff.
I think so, and I think it's hard to be brave, and I think you need to have enough piss off factor, be frustrated enough to say, you know what, this is my sand line right here. I've got my sand line. You've just crossed it over, and it's not because I want to have angst with my customers, but I think that, and when you talk about scope, which is a very good analogy. Is the reason the scope changes, and even if you don't want it to, is because on that journey with your customer, you've been very guilty of giving them ideas and inspiration and a thought. They come to you often with very little knowledge, and it's like, well, did you know you can do this? I'm doing a website in the early next year for a very big. They've got maybe 50 or 60,000 prints that you can buy in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and they've struggled with a product already. And then I've talked to them and I said, okay, you got any wholesale customers? What's your price point? How's your delivery? Yep, we can do that. Oh, so we can sell them to the wholesale customers. They can log in and they can log into the same website. So there's an education. Now all of a sudden they're coming back to me with some different ideas that they can provide value to their customers by letting them log in and see more information. So what happens is you are to blame yourself by offering ideas that your customers can expand on, and therefore the scope does change. But I think you need to have enough. It's hard. People said they don't want to work on an hourly rate, and sometimes I say to them, I think it'll be cheaper to work on an hourly rate because I'm going to have to fatten this price out because you're going to change your mind. And but see, the difference now is I'm in my 50s, and I've been doing it long enough that I have taken away this I want to please everybody factor to the point where I know my shit. I don't know a lot. I'm not an accountant. I don't fly to the moon, and I'm not a surgeon, but I damn well know what DNS is, and I know how email works, and I know how that infrastructure works, and I cannot be swayed if you're not going to listen, go somewhere else, because I'm going to dig me some strawberries.
So really. speaking of strawberries, I love that attitude of, you know what, I'm a professional, I know my stuff, I can get it done. We have to have trust on both sides. I trust you to know your business. You need to trust me to know my business and to build you the right infrastructure, to build you the right website. But now, what has caused you recently or whenever it happened to move out into the farm and to kind of balance both, right? The farming life as well as the online business stuff. What drove you to that?
Well, my husband has a background in farming. His brothers have very big passion fruit farms up north, and one of his brothers does strawberry farming as well. And I think, he came home. We talked about farming before, and he's been very supportive of me over the years. And he even actually, the last house we had, he gave up his garage so I could have an extra room for my office. Such a good man that he is. And I knew he wanted to get out. He's a tradesman, a carpenter, painter, and you have a limited lifespan. And I'd say to him, we'll never really make a huge amount of money if you don't sell to the masses. You have to have something that is multipliable one to many. And one day he came home and he just sat in traffic for about 2.5 hours, and he said, "What am I doing this for? I don't want to die wondering." So we started looking around at properties and thinking we could buy something, leverage what we had, and we just decided one day, it was just basically we'd drive up to the country and have a look, and one day we just said, "That's it, let's sell everything." Like we just sold our house, we cashed in all our money. We have got our neck on the line with no plan B. And I'm in my 50s, and he's a little bit younger than me. I'm not going to, he's a few years, keeps me young, but he's just turning 50 this year. So his goal was to be a farmer before he was 50. And I don't know, he thinks I'm the one who's motivated, but we got there. We sold everything, bought a block of land. It's called they call it a greenfield project, because we bought a block of land with nothing on it, no water, no power, no nothing, and we took over the land in March, and basically now we've got 15,000 strawberries in the ground, 3,500 blueberries in pots, 600 raspberries, 1,000 watermelon, 1,000 pumpkins, capsicum, some alpacas, cows, chickens, 3 cats and a dog, and
I love it.
Satellite. And I think the thing is, but at the moment, and irrigation has been the biggest expense for us. And I'm going to tell you a secret. Whatever you think you can do with farming, whatever you want to do with farming, quadruple it. And then what you do is quadruple the time. We are starting new. I've never grown a raspberry. I've never grown a straw. I've never grown a blueberry, but I like to eat them. Mm-hmm. So I said to my husband, how hard can it be? There's YouTube. So he's used his expertise and patient with me. And I can dig a trench. I'm very good at taking the implements off the tractor. I can field. And we put up a greenhouse together. We bought a greenhouse from China. It came in many pieces, wrapped in bubble wrap, and it's 16 metres by 30 metres, big double greenhouse. And they said, it takes 4 men 4 days. Well, I said it took a husband and wife 2 bloody months in the rain. And if it was the worst winter, the wettest winter, the windiest winter, And I just got, I'm up on the scaffolding, 10 feet up in the air. My husband, he says, I made it wife proof. It's good, Nina. Just hang on to that post. Hang on. It's like, screaming.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. And then I had to run, go home. Oh, shit. I've got to, I'll be back later. I've got to just fix up this website and go home and have lunch. And we're very fortunate, though. We live 20 kilometres, 10 miles out of the town away from our property, but we are very fortunate that we negotiated with the place right next door to us on 300 acres to live in a little shed with a couple of portable buildings. And so my driveway is, I have a 800-metre driveway. I don't know, 800 metres, like 800-yard driveway, and then a 750-yard driveway, and I'm at work. So it's terrific. But I love. You know what I want to do in life? I just think that I really wanted to be able to make food that makes a difference too. We are growing without chemicals where we can. We've been very unorthodox in our approach. We are not near other places that have got the same food. We are able to do things with the growing methods that perhaps 20 farmers together would not be able to do because of pathogens and diseases. So we're a little bit of a case study in how we're approaching things, partly through naivety, and partly through the fact that why not? We're starting from scratch. Why not put in some sensible techniques, sensible methods, and use the amazing technology available that if I had a farm that was 20 years old, it would be a very costly affair to make a change to, or I'd be fixed in my ways. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're doing. We have our first lot of fruit coming out in the next few weeks.
Well, congratulations. That sounds absolutely amazing. I grew up on a kind of farm, kind of ranch in Texas when I was a kid, when I was a small baby and child, and it's so much work. I mean, just the animals and the agriculture and just all the stuff that you have to do. There's a saying in Texas, which is "fixing to." I'm fixing to go to lunch. I'm fixing to go to work. I'm fixing to go, and that that phrase came about from the pioneers who migrated to Texas in the early 1600s, 1700s. When they were, before they could do anything, before they could travel, before they could get their wagons to move to the next, location, they had to fix everything. They had to constantly fix the tractors, fix the wagons, fix everything before they could do any work. And so I completely empathize with the farming community who are out there every day, like trying to feed us, right? Because I'm a hungry man and I love my raspberries and strawberries, but I cannot appreciate how much work goes into raising this food. So a little bit before we go, I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Before we go, maybe you could share with us, like, what technology do you use on the farm? Are you blending anything together, like building websites for your farm or using Farm to learn more about technology or anything like that?
Well, I think we all know that water is a very important, important thing to have these days. As far as you can't grow anything without water, right? So we're using some systems that will help us. You can automate the watering systems, but there's new technologies out that we're looking at putting in. Will tell you the soil and the chemical composition, so you know what nutrients to feed the plants, and that helps. So because sometimes it's not that it's hit and miss, but you want to get it right when a plant's flowering to when it's actually producing fruit, to when it's got fruit set, to when it's before it's ready to pick. That there are ways you can make the fruit a better product, and to use it's very finite. So we're going to be using technology to help us identify the best times for just for watering and fertilizing. And there's some great online software that I've seen, but it's mainly for pastures and big broadacre farming with thousands of acres, whereas we're doing very intense horticulture farming on a very small amount of land, but it's very intense. So I'm looking at if I could find out some solutions that allow smaller farmers to manage their infrastructure rather than us having to have, the 5,000 acre farm. We've only got 30 acres at the moment, but to have to have 30 acres of fruit set, we'd require hundreds of staff. It is that intense on picking time.
Wow.
It's really, with our 3,500, and we're only small, 3,500 blueberries, we'll need 40 pickers, 40 people to manage it when it's picking season.
Goodness.
That freaked me out. So I don't think people are aware of the intensity and the labour intensity, which we're trying to streamline a bit. But that's as far as I think as far as the technology goes, there's no way I would move if I couldn't have had satellite technology or some good, reliable internet technology. That was the primary reason why we didn't do it earlier. There just wasn't the internet. So how could I couldn't walk away from my business or for what I'm doing because I love what I'm doing. And there wouldn't be enough for me to do farming all the time because it's seasonal. So the compromise was technology is here, I can go farming, and we use it a lot for research and communicating, particularly with the suppliers. You can call them on the phone, but there's nothing like sitting down at a laptop or your iPad or in the field and being able to actually take a photo, send it off to someone to get an answer on something very, very quickly. The speed in which you can respond, I think, nowadays is simply amazing, and you can possibly stop problems occurring or being worse than they are because you can actually respond quicker. So I'm still new to it, Chad. I'm still very new to how I'm going to use it. This is our very first season. So perhaps if I had that same question asked in more detail, I could give you something on reflection as to what we did.
I'll tell you what, we're going to have to bring you back on the show at another time, maybe someday in the future, to talk about the growth of the farm and what you've learned and all the crazy technology that you're using out there on your 30-acre farm. The intensity, the amount of work that goes into planning and to picking to everything else is crazy. And when I go to the grocery store, I look at I try to buy organic food whenever possible, especially the fresh fruit and vegetables, right? I want organic stuff with not a lot of pesticides and all the nasty chemicals and whatnot on it. But it's more expensive. It's a lot more expensive. Why is it more expensive? I hear people all the time griping and saying, organic stuff's way too expensive. Yeah, because it takes a lot of effort in order to get the same crop, right? You're having to put a lot of manual effort in order to get the same crop. And so, if you want high quality, you're going to have to pay the price.
Well, it's what you actually put on it. The fertilizer costs about 3-4 times as much. The bacteria, you have to buy bacteria, certain funguses, live cultures. And sometimes you might lose a little bit with the, you might get some pests, natural pests that you might have a little bit more loss. I don't have all the answers yet. I think that people are very opportunistic as well. If it's organic, they can charge more, and that annoys me because I think that. See, the thing is, though, that I look at it this way: there's 52 chemicals on a strawberry, and there's 58 on a blueberry. Wow. Chemicals that we eat. So, I think that if you could just for you and me, we're older. We're older. We're not young children growing up, but young children are exposed to so many more chemicals these days than they were when we were children or when I was a child. So now I'm thinking, okay, and these are very popular fruits. Why not give someone the choice of giving their children in particular less chemicals? It does cost a little. The fertilizer costs us a lot more. The bottom line is that we have it costs us thousands of dollars more to have something that has less chemicals in it, because you can make. Look, I don't know. It's just a lot of money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I question that too sometimes, but my choice is my health is important to me. And if I can do something, I can say to you, this is a great product. I'm proud of it. And I know it's not going to kill you. You can eat it.
It sounds delicious. If it's not going to kill me, sign me up. I want to eat it. Nina, before we leave, can you share any parting words of wisdom for our audience? Then the best way that we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
I have lots, being as old as I am, there's a lot of words of wisdom that I give people. But sometimes I think that you need to just sometimes turn off from technology. And I don't think a lot of people do this as much as they could. And I read a little. I have a saying that I really appreciate. Getting information off the internet is like taking a drink from a fire hose. It is overwhelming. It is so much information, and sometimes you just have to switch off, get some peace in your mind, and let the answers come to you, because we all look for answers. But I have done more in the last 12 months and taken on more work and a whole farm and accomplished a lot more by finding peace and grounding, by sometimes switching off for a few hours. A couple of days it would be great, but just a few hours, go out, get onto some ground, get onto some dirt, take your shoes off, get grounded, look at the sky, look around you, and just let the answers come to you. And I think you'll find that you can solve many of your problems by letting the answers come to you, because they're already there. You just need to let them come to you, and technology won't help you. And I'm a technology person. Switch off. Just switch off for a while. You can contact me on Twitter, Nina Meiers. I'm on Nina Meiers on LinkedIn. My farm is Bimbimbi Farm, BIMBIMBI Farm. I have a small YouTube channel, Bimbimbi Farm AU. We've got a little Facebook page, Bimbimbi Farm. But Nina Meiers will generally find me if you just type my name in on the internet. I've been around for a long time. I don't have anything to hide, which is helpful. You can find me on...
Great stuff. Yeah. Nina, thank you so much for joining me on Hello Tech Pros today. I really value this conversation about, the honest, hard life of being a developer and consulting with people who, sometimes we get frustrated. We get frustrated with our clients because why don't they understand this stuff? Listen, if they understood it, then they wouldn't need us, right? They wouldn't need technology professionals. They wouldn't need website designers. They wouldn't need software developers. They need us because we have a certain skill set, a certain aptitude, a certain want to be in technology, and our clients sometimes don't. But then on the other hand, sometimes we need to, as you said, disconnect from technology. We need to take our shoes off and run around in the dirt and get really grounded. And I appreciate you calling us out on that and keeping us grounded.
Thank you, Chad. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. Thank you for letting me speak here. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome. Anytime. Tech Pros, if you're an employee somewhere and you're thinking, gosh, this commute really sucks. I hate driving into the office every day. You know what? There's a lot of different business opportunities online, and I'm helping entrepreneurs get started in business, whether they're a software developer, a podcaster, a consultant, a website designer, graphic designer. I've helped a lot of different people launch their first business, and I've got a free course, a free 7-day audio and email course to help you get started. You can find out more information by visiting hellotechpros.com/start. You've been listening to Nina Meiers, and I'm Chad Bostic. And until next time, take care. The show notes page for this episode can be found at hellotechpros.com/260. Do you use Slack for team communication? Join the Hello Tech Pros Slack channel at hellotechpros.com/Slack. If this episode helped you out in any way, please leave a review on iTunes and let me know what you thought. iTunes reviews helps our rankings, which helps us grow the Hello Tech Pros podcast to a broader audience, which helps more technical professionals and techpreneurs build their career, build their products, and build their businesses. If you are a subscriber and get repeat value out of this show, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon. The information on this podcast is free to everyone, but I'm giving you the opportunity to pay for the value you get out of it, starting as little as $1 a month. Pledge your support today at patreon.com/hellotechpros or visit hellotechpros.com/sponsor.